All right, we're back online. Dr. Berg, please, you had a couple questions.
How do you do it? Can you hear me? Oh, it's on. I apologize. And I apologize for keeping everybody late if I'm the last person. But I think the way this is perhaps best judged is not by us. I may not be a specialist in every field of medicine, and I would say respectfully, no attorney on Guam can be a super expert in every single field, whether it's medical, legal, or what have you. But I tell you, who has the experts are the insurance companies. They have the experts. And they came immediately and said, no, in this environment, we will not offer medical malpractice insurance. So at least that's what ours are telling us. And it's not just ours. Dr. Shea also sought someone off island. And I recently tried to get a group of super subspecialist radiologists. I wanted them to be available for us for certain cases. They came back to us this very recently and said, the current situation in Guam seems to be in flux. This is their carrier told them that and said, we're not going to offer coverage for Guam at the moment until things are settled. So it's not just us. We're being told twice now, your policies will not be renewed. So when the question comes, where will we go? Well, I don't think any of us, maybe some, but I think the vast majority of healthcare providers in the country cannot work without having availability of medical malpractice insurance. So it's not, I think Senator...
We were told earlier in testimony that there are physicians practicing on Guam without medical malpractice insurance today.
No,
with
right.
Before Bill 112 ever was even thought of, that is actually the reality.
And I don't disagree with you. What I said was, just to be clear, the vast majority, if I didn't say that's what I meant to say, it's still getting late. The vast majority of physicians will not work without malpractice insurance. I have experienced that. There was a period when we couldn't get it at all. Maybe 2010, 2015, to 2010, there was a period you couldn't get it. Nobody offered it. And we tried to entice people to come, and they wouldn't come without malpractice insurance. I understand what you're saying. I would say it's not a particularly litigious environment. We have this mandatory arbitration, still wouldn't come. So I think that's where people are saying, I gotta leave. It's not because they're gonna go to some other paradise, but they can't work without malpractice insurance. You're right, some will, but most won't.
Right, and some jurisdictions mandate it,
Yeah.
but Guam has not.
No, I know.
Yes, so that's another
we have
affordability
it
for
now.
doctors
Perhaps-
that they've provided.
No,
And
but they won't
not
do
all
it
the
now.
insurance companies came in here and said that. And some of them, I really want to clarify what they've said, because I don't have that in front of me. If you want to provide it, please provide it. Otherwise, they have been told that we are going to repeal the entire arbitration process, which is not correct. We are going to amend it to add in addition to arbitration, other protections. And I would really like those insurance companies to know of the other protections that are going to be afforded, not just to doctors, but to these insurance companies, that instead of paying $50,000 for arbitration before a trial, they might pay much less than that, maybe less than half of that with a pre-trial screening process. Or they might pay more because they might cover the patients, like what they have been doing. So there's so many ways to address that. And we do want to hear from the insurance companies, but the ones that we have heard from, I don't think they've all said they're going to dump all of the people of Guam and not cover them. I haven't heard that. I've heard that today from the insurance company, Lloyd's of London, and now you're saying there's another insurance company?
The doctor's company?
Mr. Silva? Yeah, so we did receive that testimony at the last hearing. I remember that one.
But I think it's important. Okay, fair enough. Your statements, I can't argue with it because I don't know neither of us know what they've looked at. I do know that what I got from Dave Silva, which I asked him, could I share that? He said, specifically Bill 112. Now, I can't guarantee you that he actually, here's another one, that Dr. Shea shared that from the doctor's company, which is one of the largest malpractice insurance companies, said, we're not going to do it. I tried to get it through the doctor's company, and they said no.
Is anyone currently insured by the doctor's company?
We used to be. They dropped
But are
one.
you now, right?
No.
Not. So that's
No.
another thing. It's like you're telling me to compare apples and oranges.
Wait, because let me finish though, because what I'm saying is, I'm not completely disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, at least we're being told that, right? I'm being told that today, right?
They were being told as well.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is, before something like this were enacted, if we were not to have malpractice insurance, most of us, it's not a question of Nathaniel Berg. It's a question of all of the people who work under us, that the physicians who work, I shouldn't say under us, with us in our companies that won't do it. They simply will not. I would guess that, with few exceptions, the people working under me or with me right now at Guam Radiology Consultants, Pacific Cardiology Consultants, will not continue to work if they don't have malpractice insurance. If we're being told that, then that warrants, and I'd be awfully happy if it turned out that once you spoke with them and showed them the legislation, that they said, now that we have more information, actually we will provide coverage. Right? You have to think from my perspective. We're being told it won't be covered, and they looked at the bill.
You're also being told you're not covered by certain companies that you're proposing to me that I need to address.
Right,
But they're
I'm saying,
not covering anyone on Guam right now.
What I'm saying
and there's other
is,
professions that are not covered as well.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if our insurance companies that are providing our care right now are telling us they are not going to renew our policies if this bill passes. That's not a threat from us. It's a threat from them to us saying it's not going to pass. Therefore, we encourage you to go down. They didn't say this. I'm saying that's encouraging. But
Which company are you referring to?
Lloyd's. Lloyd's
That's
covers
your
us.
insurance
Yep.
company?
Yeah.
Yes,
and
okay,
they said
we've
no.
heard from Lloyd's.
And Dave told
well,
us.
I haven't heard directly from
But Dave
Lloyd's.
told us he went to the States
too
for other
silver.
companies to get an OBGYN out here and was told no. He couldn't find a stateside company that would insure an OB. Now, I think you understand that we can't stay
I
open.
understand
We
that
can't
there has
stay
been a
open.
perennial lack or shortage of malpractice insurance on Guam for the medical field, for other fields as well. That's an issue that has to be resolved. I think that's why it wasn't mandated, because we didn't want to lose doctors. We've also heard that even when it is available, there are doctors currently practicing without any, because they didn't see the need for it, because they're so protected by the current arbitration law that no one can afford to take them to arbitration.
Not many.
I'm just saying that that's the scenario that we have.
But
there's no facts to back that up about how many. I went through an earlier about there is no reports from these medical insurance companies that are mandated by law to be reported to the Guam Board of Medical Examiners. I brought this up to you and the board. No reports. Nothing was done. I brought it up to the insurance commissioner that there have been no reports by these medical insurance companies. And these are just reports of claims that they are paying out.
But I think
judgments.
And although I'm interested.
So we are unable to confirm what you are saying. That's speculation in my book. Unless you've got something to confirm it, I would really like to see that. The data on how many are
Well, I'll tell you, the
insured
largest
and are not.
clinics,
But the facts are,
clinics all
not
have
all
them.
are insured. Not all insurance companies are currently insuring on Guam. It's got nothing to do with this bill. And even with this utmost protection of Guam's laws, they are still not insuring on Guam.
Okay.
Just like the OB shortage is not because of Guam's laws. There's a nationwide OB shortage. There's shortages of specialists. And so for this, I don't know if you want to keep making this argument that everything bad in medicine is because Bill 112 came up.
No.
That's not true at all. And I'm really, honestly, I don't want this to turn adversarial, Dr. Berg. So if we could just maybe, we'll just end it there, because I've heard you.
But here's the point that I'm getting
apples
at.
and oranges.
The point is, if we don't have the ability to get malpractice insurance, if we don't, I don't see how we can keep our doors open.
Dr. Berg, are you familiar that if, well, not familiar. Do you know that Cassidy's Insurance and Moylan's Insurance offers medical malpractice insurance? Do you know that?
Currently we have it through Lloyd's, and Lloyd's, our carrier, has said they will no longer give our
But do you know
insurance.
that there's
Yes, I do.
Cassidy?
Yeah.
Cassidy's has,
Yeah.
okay, and also Moylan's has
Yes.
it as well.
All
Okay.
right. If you've got any evidence to submit, we'll accept that. Thank you.
Do you also have a list of doctors who are not covered by medical malpractice insurance?
Nobody keeps that list.
Nobody.
No.
We kind of did a little, research on it, and we're finding that 85% of doctors on this island do not cover medical malpractice insurance because they don't have to. And now because of this bill that's coming out, they're saying that, now we're going to have to get medical malpractice insurance, so I'm going to leave island. I mean,
Madam
that's
Speaker,
what
let
2
me-
years ago when we first did this,
Let me
right?
challenge that. Every physician
Okay.
at Guam Memorial Hospital is covered by the Government Claims Act. Every physician who is at GRMC must have insurance. All at GRC, IHP, AMC, TDC, SDA, all have malpractice insurance. I think that covers 85% of the physicians on Guam. FHP. I
So
think the
all the
vast-
major
More than
facilities
major.
on the
Dr. Nguyen.
island
Yeah.
do have medical malpractice,
Right.
And they're not covered under Lloyd's of London, are they?
No, I didn't
they're
say that.
self-insured, right?
What I
So
said is,
there is
if
medical
our
malpractice
clinic,
here.
if our facilities cannot get it, and one other thing I think one should be cognizant of, because it's complex, is that if you practice outside of your specialty, you are not typically, we have been told, if you practice outside of your specialty, you will not be covered for what
That's
occurs.
current, right?
Yeah.
Even before Bill 112, that was the standard,
That
right?
is correct.
Yeah, so that will continue to be the standard. This bill does not affect that at all. So
What,
I'm going to call this hearing.
Sure.
This is, I want to thank you
Can
all
I
for
make
your
a final
testimony.
comment real quick?
Is that Dr. Shea?
I was waiting.
Dr.
Yeah.
Shea, yes, we've heard from you. You have
Yeah,
another
just,
comment?
just
Is it relevant?
yes.
Please.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah, when I was in the middle of the talking about my dad, the attorney, the reason I brought him up is because I heard, someone mentioned up that they knew an attorney in Hawaii, that how easy it is to access, lawsuits in Hawaii. It says it was comparing Hawaii to Guam.
If you could
And
get
that's
to the
reason
point,
that-
Dr. Shea, please, just because of
The
time.
point is that we're comparing apples and oranges, but someone else brought that up and nobody told her, hey, that's comparing apples and oranges. But I can raise my hand. That I don't have malpractice. And it's not because I don't want to get malpractice, it's because I can't. And I'll state that for the record.
Thank you.
And most recently, I tried to get malpractice insurance because I wanted a Navy doctor to join my practice. And we were denied because, yes, maybe perhaps we're solo practice in the smaller clinics. We don't have the wider reach. But that is a real issue for us. And I would say majority of the private practice OB/GYNs on Guam does not have malpractice because it's unavailable. Now, I did have Cassidy's when I first started my practice a long time ago. And let me tell you what happened in that case, if you allow me. What happened is that the first year, I believe it was $20,000. And then the second year, it escalated to, 50,000 and then 75. And then on the fifth year, it matured to 100 and so many $1,000. And I couldn't keep paying that because every time I go to the clinic, you turn on the lights and it's like, you have to pay $12,000 or $15,000 to the malpractice insurance. That's just not sustainable. And there's no guarantee that they're going to cap it at 5 years or 6 years. And granted, I have no cases. There's no cases. And knock on wood that we communicate with patients very, very openly and we practice good medicine. But you can call me up. Maybe I'm crazy to practice without malpractice insurance in Honolulu. Dr. Berg said, Tom, you're crazy. So if that's said, if I'm crazy, should I be closing my practice and not help the people of Guam? Who's going to take care of, you're going to lose another OB/GYN. That's 9 OB/GYNs lost. Who's going to help Dr. Cook if there's a complicated case? If I close my practice on Guam, Dr. Hirata won't come to Hawaii. Won't come to Guam from Hawaii. I can't get a gyne-onc. And every part of my testimony has been trying to improve the care for the people of Guam, for the women and children. There's not a single line I can think of that in my testimony, Speaker, that I've said, what can you do for me? I've never asked the legislature to, hey, give Dr. Shea this, give Dr. Shea a tax break. I've never asked for more protection from Bill 112, but what I asked for is protect patients' access to care. Bill 112 doesn't do that, but what I'm trying to offer myself to you, Speaker, because you're the healthcare chair. We should be working together to improve the healthcare access for people, especially for the class of people that you're talking about, that you're trying to help with this Bill 112. 112 is not going to help that class of people to be healthier or to gain access to care. I think it's going to make it worse. What I'm trying to do is, can we do something so that we can help that class of people, but still help fund that particular class, to get the opportunity that they need? And I think we can. I think we can meet an alternative rather than the Bill 112. At the same time, what I like to do is I like to help us to raise the standard of care. And I think that's what you want. I'm sure that's what you want deep down inside. And I know that as a healthcare chair, you do care about patients, and that's why you're thinking 112 is going to help them. But 26 years of practice on Guam is a long time, like I said. And I'd like to continue for maybe at least 3-4 years, 28 years, maybe I retire, or I can retire now, move to Hawaii where I'm a faculty. I don't have to be on Guam, but Guam has a special meaning for me. That's the only place that I practiced, where I can practice in Hawaii if I want, California, any other state. But I care about the people of Guam a lot. I care about the women in Guam. I care about the children, the baby, the future of Guam. I'm delivering the generation that I've delivered. The babies that I deliver are having babies today. But I want to continue to practice on Guam. Bill 112 is not going to help patients have access to me. So I'm not asking for you to help me. I'm asking you to help the patients. And I'll end with that. But I'd like you to take my words back. And I don't ask anything for you for me, Dr. Shea, but I think about patients and my patients, your patients, Dr. Burke's patients, entire island, the whole island. The patient entire island, no matter what class you are, should have access to care. Not just access to care, but access to good care. And we got to continue raising the standards. We don't want to keep the standard the same. So work with me so I can work with you as the healthcare chair. I'll make that commitment to you. Wherever I am, if I'm in Hawaii, I can Zoom with you. I can work with you on it. I promise I can do that because I care about the people, the patients of Guam, the women and children. All right? Thank you very much for
We
allowing me
agree
to
on
speak.
something, Dr. Shea. Thank you very much, and I agree with you about access
Thank
to
you.
care, patients' care, and practicing on Guam. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
So
Speaker.
I want to thank all of you for your patience today. I'm waiting to testify and listening to all the testimony. And some of you have engaged with this committee since we first started examining this over 30-year-old mandatory medical malpractice arbitration law back in 2018. It, in part, because of the advocacy of families who lost loved ones due to alleged medical malpractice, who were courageous enough to share their stories and insist that this legislature address the inequity and injustice perpetuated by this law, that we continue to try to find a solution, even with the immense political pressure and even personal attacks upon members of this legislative body and those assisting to find solutions to improve patient protection and care on the island. And I thank you for all your perseverance. And I want to acknowledge the numerous healthcare professionals that genuinely and respectfully engaged this committee to help find fair, impartial, and reasonable solutions that address, in this bill, the one concern. And in other bills, the other concerns for healthcare on Guam, and who have suggested reasonable solutions that would truly take care of both patients and healthcare professionals. I thank you for your assistance. For over 30 years since the enactment of the mandatory medical malpractice arbitration, patients and families that cannot afford the high costs of the mandatory arbitration have been subjected to a system of inequity and not able to seek justice for themselves or their loved ones. This change is needed. It's clear that a fair and equitable system that will ensure all patients are treated fairly regardless of income and that will keep patients' rights and protection at the forefront is needed. And I believe that this solution also continues to greatly protect doctors in comparison to every other industry on Guam, every other profession, in many ways, protect them from having to be dragged directly to a trial. I do not believe this bill opens floodgates because the standard of care does not change. It does not allow anyone to bring frivolous claims. It does not allow anyone to bring anything but negligence claims, and they would have to prove that. And there are penalties in the system for frivolous claims. And there are confidentialities throughout, again, that is not provided to any other profession, but is afforded in these situations to protect doctors to the utmost. It's not the answer. This bill is not the answer to all the medical challenges that we face. It's one problem that I believe we can solve. And all the others, we will continue to work together, and we have continued to work together. So this is, again, thank you very much for your participation, patience, and your assistance. There being no additional individuals to present further testimony, this public hearing is now adjourned. The time is 9:30 p.m. The committee will continue to accept written testimony on substitute bill number 112-36 CR until Monday, November 28, 2022. Si Dios más y todos.